Good evening, my dear friends. Thank you for the invitation and the honor of being with you. I'm sorry that I cannot join you in person tonight, but my health doesn't allow me to take the trip. I would like to share with you some of my memories of St. Stan's and the consolidation. I came to St. Stan's in 1976, as did Father Roy Latursky. We had full classrooms at this time, preschool through grade 8s. We had full classrooms with strong teachers and exciting teachers, and the years went by quickly with the usual joys and problems of school. We had no secretary for a number of years, and so we had to depend on volunteer help as a secretary as well as a librarian. Across town, Sister Eleanor Granger and Sister Carrie Finnegan were principals. We formed a very cohesive team, and we thought we had the best schools in the Diocese of Winona. Father Joe McGinnis was at Cathedral, followed by, I believe, Father Brahm when I first came. And I think about 1983, Father Paul Nelson, and then I think Father Jennings came after him. Father Jim Russell was at St. Mary's, followed by Father Theobald, who got sick and died from cancer, and then Father Don Conley. Father Joe Keefe was there when I left Winona, and we had great support from the priests that continued all during my years at Winona. Many problems and small enrollments began to be problematic for many schools at this time. The 7th and 8th grades got smaller at Cathedral and St. Mary's, and so after many discussions of their school boards, it was decided that these two schools would join together in the building at Cotter. In the fall of 1979, Cotter Junior High began then with Sister Eileen Haug as the first principal. St. Stan's School Board decided not to be a part of it at this time. Thus, I had several families that became very angry, and they pulled their children out of school. During the years between 1979 and 1985, the 7th and 8th graders from St. Stan's were bused over to Cathedral to take some classes. I believe they took some science and some music. This was a hard time for our students, as they didn't always feel that they were very well received by the other students. I remember Bill Jarowski coming to me one day and saying, "Sister, you're going to get a call from the principal. I had another fight." I said, "Well, what happened?" He said, "Well, those kids said, 'Here come these dumb kids from St. Stan's.' And this got me mad. So I said, "I don't blame you, Bill. I understand. Don't worry. I'll take care of it." In 1985, our school's 7th and 8th graders then were getting too small to have some classes. I had one class that had 11 students, 4 girls, 1 girl liked sports, and I think about 4 of the boys liked sports. We had Peter and Don and Rita being paid full-time for teaching 43 students. So there were many discussions with our school board and parents about sending our 7th and 8th graders over to the Cotter Junior High. Many families wanted their children to graduate from St. Stan's. Finally, however, the decision was made for us to join the other two schools. The year of 1985 was a transitional year for our students as we moved to the west end of the Cotter building. Some of our teachers wondered if they would have a job, but as things worked out, some of the Cotter Junior High teachers moved and worked out so that our teachers joined them. Because I so strongly believe that junior high school students need to have their own identity and not be meshed in with high school students, I agreed to be the acting principal for Cotter Junior High as well as St. Stan's. I spent 2 to 3 days in one building and then the other 2 or 3 days at the other building. Then in about 1986, the entire consolidation took place, with their primary classes being at St. Mary's. Grades 2 and 4 at Cathedral, and 5 and 8 at St. Stan's, which was now known as St. Stanislaus Middle School. We started a preschool at St. Mary's, which was very successful. Our classes those first years ranged around 75 to 80 students per grade. The 5th grade continued as a self-contained classroom, but grades 6 and 8 were taught departmentally. This arrangement lasted until 1998, when the 7th and 8th grade grades were absorbed into the Cotter system, and Cotter Junior High was reborn. I think Tom Farrell was hired as the first principal from about 1981 until about 1985. Father Tom Jennings followed Paul Barcy, and then Joe Barcy, and there was another Joseph, I don't remember his last name, who were principals at Cotter High during the year of 1979 to 1985. Tom Adams was at Cathedral from 1900 to 1994, and Sister Irene Comer was at St. Mary's a couple years from about 1990 for a year or two. It took a lot of work to organize this consolidation, but the work of the school boards, the pastors, Father Paul Nelson and Laverne Transinski and Don Conley, and the teachers, we were able to reorganize the school operation, the handbooks, the policy manuals, a new constitution and bylaws, and made a workable curriculum. We got the job done in a year. I remember a large roll of paper with a timeline setting a date for each step to be accomplished. At the close of the school year in 1986, we celebrated by forming a school line along Broadway of students, teachers, parents, board members, and some students from St. Teresa joined us. We didn't quite make it all the way along from St. Stan's to St. Mary's, but it was impressive. We let about 100 helium balloons fly, and messengers were written inside. And we sang, "We Are the World," which was very popular at that time. After that, we each had an ice cream treat in our school buildings. I believe one of the best things that brought about the consolidation was our Catholic students from across the city began to know each other, become friends, and worked and played on the same teams. This was also true of the teachers. I stayed at St. Stan's until 1993. And I have many wonderful memories of those days with many different activities. One of the memories was way back in about 1976, or thereabouts, of burying a time capsule in the backyard just right of the flagpole to be dug up in 50 years. The exact date must be written in either the church chronicles or the minutes of the school if they were kept. We got a waterproof pipe from Jerry Majeski, and it was filled with pictures and school texts, paperwork, and other school memorabilia. About 2:26 it should be dug up, or if curiosity gets the best of you, you could do it sooner. Ask Jerry, or one of his older boys. Since I left Winona, I spent 11 years as a principal of Fitzgerald and Holy Rosary School in Mankato. All the schools in Mankato have now consolidated into the Loyola school system. I retired in 2004 after 57 years in education, 33 being principal. I have taught at the Good Counsel Learning Center since that time, and presently I tutor 16 hours a week. I have 5 students from Somalia, a couple of high school students, a woman 63 years old who wanted to learn how to spell before she dies, and a 75-year-old man who never learned to read and wants to read. I enjoy it all. I appreciate the years spent in Winona and am grateful for the support of the pastors, the school boards, and the parents. I see that change still goes on, with some buildings closing and the revamping of the grades. I am glad the new arrangements are going well. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to share this with you tonight. And my prayer for you would be, may the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you with kindness and give you peace. Again, thank you and keep up the great work.